Are you in the business of building God's kingdom? Hi, my name is Mary from Kairos Consultancy Group. Being a Christian in the workplace doesn't automatically mean that you have a Christian career or that you're running a Christian business. Just because you profess the Christian faith doesn't mean that what you're doing in the marketplace is actually relevant to the kingdom of God. Here's a snippet from one of our trainings on the gate of business, industry, and commerce.
Once you've identified the purpose of God that you're configured for, identify the business vehicle for your purpose. So if God says, yes, I've called you to the gate of fashion, for instance, I've called you to the area of fashion, to the fashion industry. Fashion is broad, extremely so. You have everything from couture to everyday wear and everything in between. You have everything from men's clothing, women's clothing, children's clothing. The types of clothing, are we just talking about headgear? Are we talking about jewelry, accessories? Are we talking about casual wear or business wear, sports wear? It's a vast field in and of itself. So once you've identified your overall purpose as fashion, the next thing you need to figure out is what specific area, what is exactly your business vehicle? What kind of business can serve as a vehicle to fulfill the purpose of God that is locked within you? What is the divine blueprint for that business? And what solution is it supposed to provide? Remember, we talked earlier and said there has to be fruit from your business that is in line with God's overall purpose. That impact that your business is having has to be in line with what God's agenda is, especially in the specific time and season that your business exists. And so you'll realize that this requires a lot of being with the Lord. And I need to even just emphasize this. One of the disciplines that unfortunately we've lost in our day and age as believers is the discipline of tarrying, where you just sit for long hours with God and just commune with him. And liken it to what would happen with Moses in the tent of meeting. And even Joshua afterwards, where the Bible would record and say, even after Moses had left, for all the hours he'd been there, Joshua would still remain. And so by the time you're fast forwarding to a time when, because Joshua, I'd say, was called to be a warrior, to put it very loosely, he was a leader and a warrior. He was someone who was called to settle the people of Israel. But you find that by the time he's getting to the point where he's able to decree that the sun stands still. I mean, think about the kind of authority he was walking in for that to happen. Mm-hmm. But when I interrogate how he got there, for me, I go back to the days when he was young and he would be hovering around the tent of meeting when Moses was in there with God. And even after Moses left, he would remain. There was a tarrying, that there was a capacity he built in those years that enabled him to grow to the point where he had the authority as a leader to command the sun. Think about what that means for a moment. The entirety of the course of a day was completely offset. And that's not something that has ever happened since, as far as we know. Mm-hmm. And so we have to look at that and realize there are certain levels that we have yet to touch base with. And like what Dan was saying, and even Joseph, the technology he was working in, it was from the years he had spent with God, cultivating a relationship, being diligent in the place of knowing, what does it mean for me to be with the Lord, even in the midst of hardship, even when life is being unfair, when people are setting me up, when people are forgetting me? What does it mean for me to still be with the Lord? By the time he had the ease and grace to govern all of Egypt, because Pharaoh, for all intents and purposes, made him, it's just that he couldn't have made him Pharaoh otherwise. He was for all intents and purposes de facto Pharaoh. For him to get to a point where he had the grace to do that, there was a tarrying that happened. And so when we're talking about interrogating these things in prayer, we're not talking about a quick one-off where you spend 5 minutes. This is not a 5-minute devotion.
No, sir.
This is not a 30-minute sermon. We have to go back to the days where we actually spend time with God, because there are answers you will never get from the place of convenience. There are solutions you will never get from the place of convenience. God has no business entrusting you with life-changing, world-changing ideas and solutions if he can't even get you alone for 15 minutes without interruption. We have to be realistic here as well. So yes, God desires us to function in certain capacities, but are we willing to pay the price for it?
You can get access to the full training on kairosconsultancygroup.com at our website store, or you can use the link in the description box below and it will lead you right into the store. Do have an industrious, spirit-led work week.